Steve, I've interviewed you once before. I've bought and used your product. I'm very heavily engaged with the whole 5G threat to humanity. So I decided I wanted to bring you back and really go into this more of a deep dive, but still in under 30 minutes. So I want to walk through your technical background and then forward all the way to the end of how we got to where we are now. So let's start with my first question is your mechanical engineering degree. Tell me about that.
Yeah, I graduated in 1984 with a degree in mechanical engineering, but I really specified in materials. That's where my work was. That's where my masterwork has been. That's where my career led me at Texas Instruments. It wasn't about valves and kind of stuff. It was actually down at the molecular level of materials to see what was going on. That's where my brain was. That was my career since '84, is always looking at the materials that we use in everyday life. Led me to the semiconductor path where I ended up at TI.
And so from there you went to Texas Instruments, where I understand you led 140 people and you had a number of patents. Tell us about that very quick.
Yeah, just think back in 1984, 85, what was going on in the world. We communicated instantly through some codes that we developed for the little pagers that we wore. And we couldn't communicate bilaterally. It was just one way. We could tell you to call home, or we could tell you 911. We could tell you lots of things. So the revolution for communicating through cellular technology was what was happening at the time. My team was put together to work with a small company out of Europe to put together integrated chips that could reduce the size, reduce the power, give us more longevity. So we started at what would have been called at the time 1G, 2G, 3G, and on into 4G. And that's what my team did, is we created the technology, the chips needed to power cell phones during the 80s, 90s, and some of the technology is still available today as we get closer to 5G, full deployment. These technologies, what's happening starts from the work that we did a long time ago.
What I take from that is that you were big on miniaturization and moving energy. So how did that get you to energy wellness?
Well, the whole, and when I left Texas Instruments, I retired after a nice career there, didn't need to work anymore. So I started looking for the next connection to what I wanted to be. Spent a lot of time sitting behind my computer and looking at what's out there. Because I was a material scientist guy, I was looking at ways that materials made a difference. But I stumbled across a gentleman that introduced me to the wristbands that we use at Body Align and said, look what this can do. I spent hundreds of hours doing research. I'm here in Virginia Beach at the 𝗟𝗲𝗃𝗃𝗃 Center area, where it's just a huge hotbed of what's happening in the energetic world. I started studying traditional Chinese medicine, and I said, you know what? These guys are onto something. 2/3 of the world population treat their wellness through energy and not through chemicals. Boy, does that not get exciting when you can see that these people have a better longevity, a better quality of life than we do in the Western world, because we like to pop pills to make a difference in our life.
You know, I was actually healed by an energy person. I had a nerve wrap around my spine and I couldn't walk. And she literally came and put her hands on me, and I was blown away. And I'm big on energetics and so forth. So you then went on in 2006, you put frequencies into 3D holographic discs, which are kind of like Chinese traditional medicine in its three-dimensional aspect. Tell us about that.
So when we started looking at ways to capture the technology and create bioresonance and something we could deliver to the body outside of a acupuncturist needle, we started looking at different materials. We picked everything from sugar, organics, all the way through some really passive, even heavy metals, looked at what we could use. Silver turned out to be fantastic. Sugar turned to be fantastic, but it rotted. You couldn't keep it around very long. We ended up with mylar, which is just a film of polyester that's stretched. We used it on put the first lunar module on the moon. Okay, it's outstanding material. But what we found is it held our energetic charge almost permanently. And if I made it 3D, I could quadruple or even more times the ability to retain those biofrequencies and put more in there. So once I had them captured, now I had a vehicle to deliver needleless acupuncture, needleless energy to the body, and just have to educate people on where to put them. Okay, I give you the product, I'm saying just wear it here, this will affect pain, or it'll affect sleep, or it'll affect your ability to have energy. So that's what we started studying, and acupuncture led us to the path of energy, My background in materials led me to the path of getting a material that could duplicate what an acupuncturist needle would be, and we rolled out a company called Body Align.
Now, some of the stuff that you've given me, and I put one on the back of my phone, you say 3D, but it's very, very thin. So I take from that the concept that 3D can be micro 3D.
Yeah. The product is, as you can see, is it's 3D at the molecular level, right? It has, if you were to take the overcoat off and you looked at it through a pretty good magnifying glass, you would actually see the formation, and because it's optically reflecting light to see what's happening, it's a 3D.
No, that does it for me. That does it for me. So tell me about university studies. I mean, I was the top Amazon reviewer for nonfiction with over 2,000 nonfiction book reviews across 98 categories. So I buy into bioenergy and Thomas Bearden stuff on gravitobiology and so forth. But the average person is going to find this difficult to believe, particularly since Western medicine has repressed traditional Chinese medicine. So tell us about university studies that bear this stuff out.
So we took our technology early on in our life and ended up at Alabama and at Troy University and looked for elite athletes, because I could take somebody and elevate them from couch potato and get them a bit more energy, but that could be a psychosomatic effect. We went to the elite athletes, the football players, and said, here, we're doing a reverse double-blind, reverse placebo test on you. We put the same product on athletes. Some of them were charged, some of them were not. They didn't know. They went out and performed. We got biology feedback on these guys, and then we swapped them and let them go back to the field. Okay, this was over a month or so period, and got feedback. That we had a subjective measurement that the coaches gave us. We had an actual measurement of blood pressure and body temperature and the other things that we're looking for to show that we made a significant biological difference in these athletes. Once we had that, now you can find our products worn by a lot of NCAA people, a lot of pro athletes going, I need the edge. So if I can take an elite athlete up by 10%, that's monumental. If I can take a couch potato up by 40, 50%, that's monumental. And that's what the kind of products do. That's what our studies have shown, that we can take everybody and just elevate them. So we chose elite athletes because it made a lot of sense to see a bit of a performance increase makes them that much better across their sport, across the physiology that they have. And we've done an outstanding job continuing to nurture the universities to do the next generation studies as we roll out new products.
You know, I connected with you because I was looking for solutions for 5G. I'm a huge fan of the 5G Apocalypse movie, and I've been reading about entire airliners that have been grounded because they thought everyone had the flu, and it turned out they were suffering from radiation sickness because of the 40,000 new satellites that are beaming uncalibrated Wi-Fi down. So it sounds like your product actually has something to do with 5G and ameliorating the 5G effect. Tell us about that.
So what we found is we're not going to stop the 5G revolution. This is not what Body Align and Steve Lepkowski is all about. What we're trying to do is how do we just reverse the impact to the body or minimize the impact to the body. Frequencies that are broadcasted through the Wi-Fi band and through 5G technologies are not natural frequencies. These are new to the body, okay? And they're at energy levels that the body's never seen before. So you'd be unwise to believe that it's not going to have a biological impact. It's got to. We're bombarding the body. That's massive amount of water and massive amount of iron in the body. It's going to make a biological change. And unfortunately, it makes a negative biological change. So we created a product, studied the biology of what's going on, from the heat generation to what's happening energetically to what's happening chemically in the body when it's bombarded by electromotive forces, high energy ones, low energy ones, high frequency and low frequency ones. What do we need to do to put the body back in bio-alliance, back in bioresonance? So we created 400 some odd products, tested those, and fortunately we were able to embed those in this product here. So this product now, as it comes close, I use the energy of the cell phone, the heat of the cell phone, the heat of the body, okay, light, to push into the body to give the body some resonance, okay, of over 400 products to renormalize and to reestablish a basis for the body after it's bombarded with the cell phone in your ear or just the Wi-Fi in your house. We're getting bombarded every day. And I think it's important to have something that normalizes the body. We do not stop energies from hitting the cell phone. Okay, we actually resonate into the body. Don't get alarmed. Don't go overboard here. Don't start changing your biology because 5G, Wi-Fi are hitting the body and making a change.
So how long have you been working on what I think is called the electromagnetic field radiation challenge?
You know, I go back to my days at Texas Instruments. We had to worry about EMF as a noise, okay, as chips vibrate. We're talking gigahertz vibrations, right? That's huge. That's about what we're seeing now in some of these cell towers in order to get the data transfer rates up. So we were at gigahertz on a chip a long time ago and says, how do we get it out of here? We didn't want it hitting the brain. We need to get it neutralizing, get it to ground so the chips would perform. So I've studied a part of EMF and what has to happen to the chip or to the environment in order to neutralize that and get it out of the way. So my thinking on frequencies happened a long time ago. Now, I've read studies and I'm comfortable that they're doing the best they can to eliminate those frequencies that are really, really bad for the body, like that would cook water or that would excite iron and create a big, they've done the best to pinpoint those and get them out of the spectrum. But unfortunately, there's just a lot of bleed over. And there's a lot of things in our body that they just can't eliminate and give you the kind of performance. So I started really getting into it when I could talk to people, see things happening, going, there is a significant impact to the biology because of cell towers, because of cell phones and the way people use them. This has been going on for what, 20 years, 25 years, talking about don't put it in your pocket. Don't do this, don't do that. Wear headphones, don't be Bluetooth. So I'm a big fan of saying, live your life, enjoy your life. Let's shield the body. Let's give the body something so we can enjoy using cell phones, using Wi-Fi, and being a part of what we have today.
Well, I'm worried about it. And part of the reason I agreed to do this for you guys is because I think about the Darwin Awards and the guy that stayed warm by sitting in front of the microwave dish. You know, I mean, I think this stuff is dangerous. And for me, there's no downside to taking a chance with you guys. I told my wife when we were talking about it to think of it like Native American talismans. You know, I mean, they have spiritual properties we don't understand. And if you want to consider it a piece of jewelry, that's, you know, good on you, but there's no downside. So there's all kinds of testing that's been done on this stuff. And the cell protection disc, the EMF maps, blood tests, galvanic skin response testing, protect filtering testing. You've got the documents on your website. So in 30 seconds, sum up the testing.
So we've looked at every way to measure the negative impact to the body when it's bombarded with 5G. So we're going to put you in every environment that we know that can look at what's happening to the body from IR, infrared temperatures, all the way through chakra management, chakra alignment, and energies. So we started looking, going, wow, we're making a negative impact. And then we started looking at what are the materials, whether it's a botanical or essential oils or anything else, it would make a positive, bring the body back to neutral. And that's how we ended up with what to choose, okay? And then as we would test now the exposure to 5G, we would then put our products near you, on the cell phone, and then measure what's happening. We see the body crash, and we see the body start to lift back. So what we did is took the damage to the body or what's happening to the body, calibrated it, looked at products, could elevate it back to where it belonged, and that's what we chose to put in the products. So these are tested in the lab, known things that can make the body more immune or less negative responsive to what's happening with EMFs that are bombarding us.
You know, I looked at 5G BioShield, which is very pricey, although it does some good stuff. And I looked at several other things I didn't particularly like. And then I looked at you guys, and what I found was that your customer reviews were very good. And you've got your reviews on there, and I believe you when you say you have less than a 1% return rate, and that's usually because the size of the thing, if it's a wristband or whatever. So last question. Where can people get this stuff, and what kind of discount are we going to offer if this video drives people to your product?
Sure, they can find us at www, of course, bodyalign.com. And then you go to checkout as you review all of our products and all the research that we have. You go to the checkout and you put in Robert David Steele.
007.
There you go. 007, the spy. And you'll get a 20% discount. And the product ships usually the next day. And we have lots of inventory. This stuff's made pretty easily. We can program all sorts of the technology and get ramped up and provide infinite amount of product, because this stuff is made pretty quick, and get it back to our labs where we can program it, embed in it what we need, and then ship the product right out the door. So.
All right. I'm glad I did this. I don't do stuff like this. This is just not me. But this 5G thing is a really terribly frightening thing. And I believe it's a public service to tell people about you guys. So, Steve, thank you. I admire your very nicely shaved head. And, I think you've got a great logo there. And so let's close this out, and I will post it as soon as I can.
Thank you, Robert. Have a great day. God bless America.
All right. God bless America. Bye-bye.